I've been using my Logitech Harmony remote for just over 6 years now, and it is starting to show signs of aging. The battery no longer holds charge long enough anymore, so it always has to stay on the dock. So when a company called Sofabaton reached out to me to try out their universal remote, I wondered if this would be a viable replacement to my long-standing Logitech Harmony remote. Sofabaton offers a product line very similar to what Logitech offers. They have the X1S remote and the U2. Now, this is quite similar to the Logitech Elite as well as the Logitech Companion. The Companion will be the equivalent of the U2, while the Elite will be the equivalent of the X1S. Let's dive right into what this product offers by starting out with unboxing it first. So right here we have the X1X and the U2. Let's start out with unboxing the U2. So we have the manual U2 remote. When compared to the Logitech Companion's remote, this is much bigger. It uses a AA battery, which is also included in the package. On the front side, it has like this display screen. I'm not quite sure if it's touch screen. Then we also have this trackball. It's quite very similar to what you would have on the Logitech remote. The front end is prompting to connect to the Sofabaton app. So right now the download is complete. The next step would be to create an account. I'm gonna go ahead and use my Google accounts to create one. Here I'm gonna select the U series for this setup. So now it says to press the minus and the E button. And now it goes right into pairing mode. The setup process was very simple and straightforward. Now we can go ahead to add devices. I am currently in my garage where I have a very simple setup, which I think the U2 would do well in. I have a LG TV, I have a Bose 321 sound system from over 10-15 years ago. It doesn't have any of the fancy feature. It uses infrared, so it'll be nice to be able to use this U2 to be able to control it. I also cannot find the original remote for that sound system anymore. And I also have a Fire TV connected to this TV. So it'll be nice to see if I can pair up all three of them using the U2. I'm gonna go ahead and open up the Sofabaton app and select my U series, and then I'll connect. So now it's connected, so I'm gonna go ahead and add a new device. We're gonna start out with adding my TV first. I'm gonna say Bluetooth and then search for Sony. We'll select the device icon here, and I'm gonna select TV, continue, and then next. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead to the Bluetooth settings and then add a new device. Right away, we can see that the Sofabaton has appeared right on there. So I'm going to select that and pair it up. So right there, it says it's also pairing to the Sony TV right there on the display. I can see my Sony TV. So now I can start to immediately control the TV. Unfortunately, the database for the Sony TV doesn't have the input control. However, I can do something called the IR learning. So I'm going to use the original remote to learn that particular button configuration and then assign it to the U2. So I'm now back in the app. I'm going to select my Sony. I'm going to say remote keys. This is the button I want to assign. And I'm going to say learn from the original remote. So you can see right there, it says to hold it. Go over there and I'll do this. It has learned that button. You can see it's blue. Now that's because it's using IR for that particular function. Input, and then we can scroll. Now this thing is so easy to use. It's also very responsive too, much responsive than my actual Sony remote. Now we're gonna go ahead and add the Fire TV. We're gonna go back to the app again and do the same thing. Press these two buttons, get it to pair up, and then connect. And now we can add another one. And this time around, we're gonna say Bluetooth again. And then I'll say Fire TV. Device icon, we're gonna say it's on Fire TV right there. And I'm gonna continue. Can only pair, okay. Same process again. I'm gonna say next. Remote and Bluetooth. Then we're gonna say we want to add another Bluetooth device. Add the Bluetooth. You can see that right there, it has popped the Sofabaton, and I'm gonna pair it as well. It's pairing to the Sofabaton. And then look at that. It is paired as well. Now we can go ahead and control. So I can kind of switch between different devices. I can say I want to go back to the Sony, and then Sony TV, and then voila. Fire TV. Voila. Now let's go ahead and add my sound system. I'm going to pair the remote to the app, and then we can see the devices that have been added so far. We can see Sony and the Fire TV. Now it's time to add the Bose. This is definitely IR. So we're going to see if we can search from the database and see if it will show up. I really hope it does. So we'll say Bose. So, okay, look at that. 321 Series 3. And then we're going to say next. And then gonna select the media, something that's relating to music. I guess we just use that and complete our setup. So now it is downloading from the data right there. Setup process with the U2 has been very simple and straightforward so far. Now let's find out if it will actually work. I'm gonna scroll over to the Bose and then turn on. Where's Jen? Just like that, the U2 controls pretty much everything in this setup. But in my media room setup, I'm going to be using the X1S. We have the manual, the remote itself, USB-C Type-C cable, another USB Type-C cable, power brick, extender for the infrared. We have another one. So this time around, this one has the double head, the hub itself. So it looks like this one actually uses rechargeable batteries, not disposable batteries like the U2. It also has the trackball as well, just like the U2, but has a much better LCD display than the U2 as well. All right, we're gonna go ahead and power up this device. I'm gonna go ahead and open up the Sofabaton app and then connect. So next we're gonna go ahead and set up a new hub. So I'm gonna hold down the button on the reset for 3 seconds to allow Bluetooth connection. Pair it up to the S1, we're going to allow. So it's gonna try and join the Wi-Fi connection now. And there we go. So the hub is connected. I can pair it up to my Philips Hue as well. I'm gonna go press the bridge, and there we go, my Philips Hue bridge. We wanted to look for Hue bridge. We'll say lighten, submit. And then you can see right there, it syncs the devices to the Sofabaton remote. And then we have my Hue bridge there. So now I can control all the different devices. I can turn on my staircase, bulb, light. You can also find my Sonos devices too, right there. We'll say this is music. Sonos is added. You can only add Sonos, Philips Hue, and the Hue bridge, the device, using Wi-Fi. Then for Bluetooth, we have a couple of other options. You have 19 options to choose from. So the database isn't as big as I would expect, but you know what, let's start with infrared device. We're gonna say we want to search for my BenQ. So we have the 3550. Look at that, it's right there. We have the 3550 projector. We'll change that to projector complete. Okay, I just added my projector. Okay, so we can go ahead and create activities as well, but before I do that, I'm just going to go ahead and keep adding all my devices. I'm going to add my home theater. I'm going to say next, and then we're going to change that to home theater complete. But so far so good. I've been able to add all of my devices. Well, I've added my Hue bridge, my Sonos, my projector, my Samsung sound system, and my Apple TV. So I can control all of them by selecting whichever one I want to control. All right, and it gives you all the options that are available. It controls the Apple TV. And then it brings up the menu options for my projector. Just like that. Same thing with my sound system. But the beauty of this guy is actually activities, right? So if I select activities, right now it's currently on the watch projector activity. So what that means is that now I can use the Apple TV to move around, and then when I control volume, it controls it for my sound system. and then if I turn it off, it turns off the projector. And then it also integrates with Google and Amazon. So there's a skill on the Amazon store, and then there's also an API on the Google platform, which you can use to bring in your activities for, you know, voice control using both Lady A or Google. From the battery perspective, I mean, I've only charged it once since I've added it, and the battery is at about 50% now. So depending on how much you use it or how frequently you use it, you might get more or less battery life out of it, but I think it should be reasonably okay for most people. Now, which of them should you get? Should you get the X1S or the U2? Personally, for me, I don't really see a lot of value in the U2 for most media spaces, because the value of a universal remote is the ability to trigger and control and activate multiple devices all at the same time and control them, you know, simultaneously as well. But with the U2, it's very, very device independent, so you have to actually switch between all the devices all the time if you need to, you know, use a particular device. If you're going to get this remote, the X1S is probably better because you can set up the activities, like I said, and you can, you know, integrate multiple devices together, and it comes with the hub too, right? Integrate multiple devices together and set up activities, which again is the beauty of using a universal remote. If not, you could as well just use all your individual remotes to control these devices. But again, that's just my take on that. But other than that, I think it's a good value, especially since Logitech no longer sells or carries those their remotes anymore. So you're not going to be getting support for those. But with this guy, I mean, Sofabaton is going to probably continue to release more versions, software updates, and you can reach out to customer service for help and, you know, resolution for your issues. So that might be what, you know, might be reasons to actually consider something that's still in active use versus something that no longer is support, right? Thank you so much for joining me on this video, and I hope you find it helpful, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.